My pink bestie and I decided that we have to be part of the breast cancer awareness. As you all know, this is the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we thought that our presence in fighting, in talking about breast cancer was really important. You know, as women agents, we have grown into it. And so for today, we're just going to take you through breast cancer awareness, how that marries into our insurance world, okay? And as mothers and as women and as sisters, we really have to walk the movement with each and every one of us, okay? Especially in our country, Kenya. And Charlene, what do you have to say about that?
Yes, and this Pinktober, why we really put a spotlight on breast cancer awareness is because according to the WHO, 2.3 women globally are diagnosed with breast cancer each year.
Yes.
And other than that, 685,000 women globally lose their lives to this count. And the worst, one of the very frightening statistics is that 1 out of every 8 women will actually be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. So I think this is, but in the entire month of October, it's our call for all our viewers and our listeners to get out there, get screened, do that mammogram. You know, when you're taking your shower, do your own self breast exam. I think it's, and also if, you know, you could also donate or devote yourself to causes, especially like organizations that actually work with cancer warriors, okay, or people who are battling this disease, because I would say it's a serious one. And as long as we can be part of that community that is working with other mothers and other women, because one of the when I was reading just about breast cancer, I realized that girls as young as 21 are getting diagnosed with breast cancer. So this is not one of those illnesses that is just left for the older women. It's just having awareness around it, taking our younger sisters into a facility to get checked, you know, also at home, you know, doing it even just for ourselves, you know. I think it's very important. But for today's discussion, as you know, we are in the insurance business, so we're going to see how is breast cancer and also cancer generally treated within the various coverages that we have in insurance. My name is Charlene Kimara. You may call me Mama Bima Kenya.
And I'm Angeline Gondi, or Angie Gondi, and you may call me your super agent, Angie. Welcome to our episode, our Pinktober episode with my pink bestie right here.
Yes. Now, Angie, you are a guru. You are one of the leading medical insurance agents in the business, because medical insurance is one of those covers that really do come through for us. You know, when you want to seek treatment, and especially for someone who may be battling or going through cancer treatment, who may be needing specialized treatment. Could you tell us, like, how is cancer treated within medical insurance?
Within medical insurance,
yes.
Okay. Just before I dive right into that, I just want to talk about a Stitching Time Series 9.
Yes.
Yeah, everything Ali.
Yes.
Ali purchase of your insurance, medical insurance, your health insurance. Like, always be on time with everything. Okay. So now we have clauses. We have clauses when we're dealing with chronic illnesses. So breast cancer and any other cancer will fall under chronic illness, okay? In the insurance world, in the health insurance world, a chronic illness is any illness that has no cure, will require frequent medication, or will require a certain intervention like surgery to be treated, okay? So that falls under the chronic illnesses sublimit. Now, this is what happens. Let's say you have a cover worth 5 million shillings. this cover is normally divided into pockets of coverage. Okay. Now, chronic illnesses are not paid to the full amount. There is a percentage that is apportioned to it. So let's say for one of my partners, for a 5 million cover, we have what you call the newly diagnosed chronic condition. That will be covered up to 2.5 million shillings. Okay? So yes, you have a cover of 5 million, but it will be covered up to 2.5 million shillings. However, if you're joining the cover at the point of you're already diagnosed, then there will be a waiting period. Okay? For cancers, generally you'll get 2 to 3 years, by which time probably you will need to have sought treatment. So that will not help you, which is why I'm talking about as teaching time says 9, you know, or the early bird catches the worm. You take the insurance, the health insurance before you need it.
Yes.
It will actually serve you.
And I really like that.
Yeah.
Because I think Kenyans need to start appreciating that insurance is not in the business, especially insurance companies, are not in the business of insuring sure risk.
Yeah.
Okay. So when
they don't want to buy claims.
Yes.
I mean,
they're not
would
there
want
to
to
actually buy a claim. So, and I think that is the point that you are really driving home. Take up your coverage even before any major disease has been diagnosed. Like, let's just get into the habit of maybe medical insurance is a need that we have. You know, like I need to have a medical cover so that even if you get to a point where you're diagnosed with a critical illness such as cancer, then you would be sure of you've already served the waiting periods. You've been on that scheme, you know, for 2 years, for 3 years and on. So you're able to start enjoying treatment or coverage from the word go.
Yes. Now, okay. So that's it. And I know we say we are coming in as women agents and really trying to, you know, join this this movement for the Pinktober. But also, I know we have members here, our viewers here who already have cover, okay? And as we appeal for the screening, you know, the self breast examination, we are normally fighting for a very critical component in your cover, which would be the annual health checkup, okay? I know for a fact that many of us do not utilize that, you know, that benefit in a cover. It's very, very crucial, okay? I've had a client who I pushed to do her medical, and along the way she discovered she's had high blood pressure, as high as 180, you know, and she quickly got into treatment, and the doctor was like, oh my god, this thing was actually going beyond, you know, it was going beyond the roof, okay? So that annual health checkup benefit, please take advantage of it in this month of October or any other time that you are able to use it, and especially for women over 40 years, go for the it's called what, the gold examination, the mammogram. Okay, you know, take advantage of that. We have partners currently who are working with insurance companies and really discounting those packages, okay, because there's no point of having a cover that you're not using. All right, so that's where we start off, okay? Yeah, so I think that's about it.
Challenge to you on that,
right?
Don't you think it's actually time we actually went for our own screening? I think we can do that in the coming week, and we can also just document it a little bit, because if we are really, you know, because October really is, it's for this purpose, just creating awareness around this. You have a medical cover, I do have one. Why don't we walk into a facility in the coming week, document it, show people, we actually show you proof that we actually got this done.
Yes.
Because, and it may, you know, it may urge someone else, you know, who's watching us or consuming our content to also just get out there, and we take them through the process of what that looks like, because I can tell you for sure people do not utilize the annual checkup benefits. And
I know it's scary. I have had my clients telling me, yote sitaki kujua kwa sababu like, let sleeping dogs lie. Why are you opening a Pandora's box? Literally, if I was okay, Then immediately I got checked, I became sick, like very, very sick. So I know it's scary, but for me, I think the one in every 8 women is more scary. For me, okay? And I'd rather go through the fear earlier, the reality of it earlier than later.
And even statistics have it that the reason why the mortality deaths like for cancer in Kenya is very high, why that rate is very high, it's because of the late detection. So by the time we come to know that, oh my Lord, maybe I have cancer, it's already like a stage 3, stage 4.
Stage 4.
Yeah.
And at that time, the prognosis is not good at all.
Yes.
Yeah, the prognosis is not good at all.
Yes. And on that medical insurance and how cancer is treated within that, please talk to us a little bit about, because you talked of one of the carriers that you work with that has about a newly diagnosed
chronic condition. Yes. So there is a other which is under the pre-existing and chronic sublimits. Okay, so different insurance companies will determine what is newly diagnosed. Some will give 3 months, some will give 6 months. Okay, so if it's within the pre-existing sublimit, that is generally lower. Okay, so for the same cover I was referring to 5 million, for instance, you're aware that the chronic sublimit is 700,000. So if you are newly diagnosed, the first year the insurance would pay maybe 2.5 million. Then the next year it moves to the chronic and pre-existing sublimit, which brings it to 700,000.
And Kenyans, you need to really be on the lookout for that when you are buying your
health
medical insurance cover, because I think it shakes people. Same underwriter, I was recently just doing more of a policy review with a client, and she has a very sizable inpatient benefit, and when we went through the coverage, especially for cancer, and she realized how low it was, I could see her shock. And the first thing she told me is, I need you to move me. Like, I need to move, because she told me she's been on an inpatient only cover for the longest time. She doesn't even do outpatient. She's able to cater for that just out of pocket. But why she is a firm believer in medical insurance is she's seen what insurance has done for her parents, both who were on the same provider in the past, and they were even able to seek coverage, like treatment outside the country in South Africa, and it was catered for. A huge part of the bill was actually catered for by the insurance company, that particular insurance company. So at this point, when she realized, oh my Lord, like if I were, to be diagnosed, with cancer, from year 2, I would be at coverage of this amount.
That amount,
the one thing she told me, Charlene, I need you to move me. Please get me, an underwriter that would at least give me 2.5 and more. But also, it's not all bleak when it comes to coverage. And because, I mean, when we are talking of amounts like 2.5 million shillings, Angie, that feels like it's a drop in the ocean when it comes to the kind of treatment you need, like for cancer treatment. You are talking of probably chemotherapy sessions, radiotherapy, you're talking of
nursing.
Yes, you're talking of the actual surgery and so on, hospitalization, so much outpatient care that is needed. You're talking of very costly drugs and so on. So the kind of coverage you're talking about feels like it's a drop in the ocean.
Right.
What are the alternative types of medical insurance coverages out there? Because I know you also specialize even in international medical insurance. What kind of coverage can one get from just within the market?
Okay, so one, we have what we have just discussed, the local cover, okay, which is better than nothing. All right, but that would not be the primary cover. Again, the month of October cannot go by before me talking about SHA, the controversy around, so when SHA was being developed, I think a critical component of it was the emergency chronic fund, okay? And if you look at the document, chronic illnesses, especially cancers, are really, are really standing out. Okay, so and it was meant to bring to make health coverage equitable, right? So for those Kenyans who cannot afford private insurance,
Yes.
okay, whether ladies or men, and no, we've not talked about men. Men also, 1% of men are diagnosed with cancer.
True.
So when you're talking about
breast cancer,
yes, breast cancer. When you're talking about screening, please, men, also kindly just do the breast examination.
Yes.
So in terms of equitability, right, SHA should really come in handy. So as we are rolling out, let's see how that will come into place. Because I know also the SHA will be covering level 4 to 6, and they'll be using select hospitals for that. Okay, so make sure you subscribe to SHA, please.
Yes.
And then now for the Kenyans who can afford private insurance, please get the local cover, which will also come in handy. Okay, at the beginning of your treatment. Then now we also have Kenyans who can afford international covers. International covers ordinarily, I mean, the benefits are mind-blowing. If you have a cover of 150 million, it's covered to the full chronic limit.
No sub-limits.
No sub-limits, you know, to the full, I mean, being covered for 150 million. You
Some
literally,
of the coverage feels like it's vanity, you can never exhaust it. But also just a peace of mind, because I've seen families that have gone through like cancer treatment with that kind of cover. You know, you're able to seek overseas treatment, and even if you're here at home, you're just able to go through your entire treatment without the financial strain. You can really concentrate
on the treatment,
and the recovery process.
Okay. And it also a majority of them have the elective transfer. Okay, elective transfer, not that it's required. You can just decide, I want to go and get treated. In India, in Canada. If you have the option open to the US, I mean, it's open. And the insurance will also cater for the flights for you and an accompanying partner. And sometimes even for the nurse if required. Okay. And I mean, we can break down the premiums later, but even for somebody as young as 30, the premium could be 300,000. Honestly, health is wealth. If you can afford it, please, by all means, take it up. Then we have the mother of all covers now, which purely caters for severe illnesses. Okay, and cancer being the main one. There's some exclusions. There's some cancers that are excluded. I know, like skin cancer and cervical.
No, skin. Sometimes some classification of prostate. Prostate cancer. If it hasn't gotten to like TNM classification, etc.
I think even cervical for some underwriters. For some underwriters, But Charlene, I think I want you to take us through this critical illness.
So now, now you have your health insurance in place. You need to complement this with a critical illness cover. Okay. So now, health, we know medical insurance is on the general insurance side of business. Now, critical illnesses covers, these ones are within life insurance. Okay. And from different insurance, you may find one insurance company will probably have like a dedicated cancer cover. Then some will actually offer now a broader type of cover that will cover more than just cancer. You know, it will also give you coverage for cardiovascular diseases. It will give you coverage for even major organ transplants. It could be paralysis, a coma, a heart attack, kidney failure, etc. That is actually the kind of cover I recommend that you take up, because now, if it's not cancer, it could be something else. It could be kidney failure and you need dialysis. But now, this is what happens with critical illness. Unlike medical insurance, where you seek treatment and the medical cover pays to the hospital. It pays to it's basically, you're enjoying coverage on credit basis, but the money is not given to you. It's paid to the different service providers, the doctors, the lab, etc. With critical illness, you receive a lump sum payout. and this is discretionary money for you. Okay, so I like to say that you need to complement your health insurance with a critical illness coverage.
Right.
And your critical illness coverage could either come as a standalone cover, okay, or it can be a cover that is within another, you know, life insurance policy. So it could be within your term life policy, it could be within your whole life policy, it could even be within your education policy or your endowment savings plan. Yes. But I can tell you, our viewers, as you know, we are insurance agents. We are in this business. So we work with clients when it's that time to have a claim honored. And just when a client is literally going through like the worst of times, you know, you have gone to hospital, you've gotten this very big diagnosis. So first you are shook.
Yes.
You get. And then this lump sum payout is made to you. Because at that point, you can imagine if it's a business owner, at that point, they are not thinking that I'm waking up to go to my business. You're thinking, I'm waking up to go to the hospital for further tests.
Yes.
You know? When you realize that that payout will even come as an income protection tool, you know? So you're still able to put food on the table. You know, you're still able to cater for school fee if that's the priority expense in the home. But I usually say, please ensure, you know, because critical illness covers are very affordable in the market, Angie. We need to make it mainstream and ensure that every Kenyan has a critical illness cover.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And something like breast cancer, or just all the quote unquote, like the mainstream cancers are really covered within this.
Yes.
And the beauty with critical illness covers is, in most cases, you'll have about, depending on which underwriter, you may have about 6 months waiting period. If the diagnosis happens after, you know, the 6 months, then the payout would be honored in full. I even had an experience where my client got a cancer diagnosis 18 months into the policy, and it honored in full.
Oh, wow.
And we made a claim on a Wednesday afternoon, and like did the paperwork at the underwriting company, and by the next week on Tuesday, the lump sum amount had already been paid. They literally received their discharge voucher the day after, on Thursday. So I keep saying this is immediate. Yes. You know, this is your quote unquote like your emergency fund during your lowest of moments. You can be sure that if I am diagnosed with a critical illness, I will access immediate liquidity.
Yes.
And you have options now. You can seek specialized treatment. Yes. And if you happen to be amongst maybe the group that has the 150 million kind of coverage in Sambupa or Cigna or APA Holland kind of cover, you can decide, you know what, my medical coverage will cater for the medical expenses. And you know what, this payout from you know, my critical illness cover, I'll even go on a holiday. I'll go see the world with my children. I will just make the most of my time and still ensure that maybe I can also have some little downtime instead of maybe fully exerting myself at work and all. So that payout from your critical illness would be a very good income protection.
That would be a good income protection, true. Yes. I agree. Also, so just to touch on the cancer burden, because cancer is a burden. Yes. And it is a burden in our country. Yes. Mainly so. I was reading some documents, like for you to actually know even the breast cancer is a major burden. Is a third leading cause of death in our country. Women. Yes, amongst women. The third leading cause of death after cardiovascular diseases and what was the other one? Cardiovascular disease and another one. Yes. And actually, Kenya came up with an action plan, Kenya Breast Cancer Action Plan, 2021 to 2025 copy. Okay, yes. And some of the things that they were actually planning to work on was funding, and this kind of really broke my heart because we are pushing people to get screened. Yes. Literally, it's a whole thing. When I hear October Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I just know it's screening. After that, it's like bottomless bucket.
Yes.
Fine, I've been screened now.
Then what?
I'm sick. Then what? You know? Then what? Because even our government is seeking funding towards that.
Yeah.
You go to trust funds, like when my nephew was unwell,
Yes.
they don't have money to support you. They've been seeking funding. They don't have funds to allocate to cancer patients. Okay? Now, if you've had money before, you could afford a drink, you could afford a meal, especially the junk meals that we take. Honestly, you can afford to get a critical illness. You would feel so wasted if you needed just 5 million to get treated abroad and you cannot afford it, yet you could have afforded 5,000 bob. You know, we don't have to wait for our government to fund us. We don't have to wait for NGOs to fund us. Let's just take charge, okay? So as you're going to get screened, even before you go to get screened, make sure you have an action plan.
Yes.
Make sure you have your personal action plan, not a Kenyan government action plan. Okay?
And I think we've seen in the past,
load the cancer burden.
Yes, we've seen in the past, really, if we are being very realistic, nobody's coming to save us.
No.
Especially not with the way things are running.
Yes.
I feel that even the social, sort of like social welfare systems that we have in our country, they are not there. We have seen DJ Kroba online making an appeal to literally, you know, having come across information that now even they can no longer access treatment for his wife's treatment. Yes. And you could see just how broken he was in that video. Yes. So we are in that country, by the way. We should not sugarcoat this. We are in a country where a patient coming in for dialysis, who needs dialysis to live, will be turned away from the hospital, and the government is in limbo. Nobody understands the transition between NHIF to this other one, and unfortunately it looks like more of a commercial venture for the powers that be. So, dear Kenyans, we need to take action. Like, please, let's be honest. This is up to us. It's up to us as of right now. Maybe in future we could get to a point where we could say we have some little faith, you know, in the systems that have been put in, you know, to help the most vulnerable. But until we get there, that may be 100 years from now. For now, if you have that 1,000 or 2,000 shillings that maybe you can set aside month on month, please don't retain the risk. Go sit down with your preferred insurance agent. Just try and see. I had something from Mama Bima and Super Agent Angie. They were talking about some critical illness. Can I see what kind of cover I can get from that?
Can I afford it?
Yes, can I? And with my 1,000 or my 2,000 per month, what kind of coverage can I get? Because if there's one thing, Angie, I always say, a little coverage is better than no
nothing.
Coverage.
Yes. Because you can start treatment and then I'll begin the crowdfunding, the WhatsApp funding. Yes. But can you imagine you being diagnosed today, like your client?
Yes.
Diagnosed on Wednesday, you're processing the discharge 1,000. I mean, you get the discharge voucher on Thursday.
Yes.
So literally in the coming week,
you have money.
And so this is a client from where I sit.
Yes.
Let's assume she had a cover of 3 million. Okay, that caters for breast cancer up to, it's newly diagnosed. So let's say up to 1.5 million on the 3 million cover. Okay, so they begin, treatment, further tests within the 1.5 million.
Yes.
Within that same week, they probably have identified a hospital in India, in South Africa for treatment. They start processing their visa.
Yes. And
by the time the funds are coming, the visa is also coming at the same time.
Yes.
You go peacefully and begin your treatment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then normally what I see is they're given, cancer patients are normally given a treatment regimen to come back with to be treated locally. Yes. Then when you come back locally, that can be utilized off your medical cover.
Yes.
You get. So I think, as we say, early treatment, early diagnosis, early treatment,
Yes.
early everything,
Yes.
Comes in handy.
Yes.
Yes.
And we go back to your stitching time, saves 9. Because even just the early detection,
yes,
with just us being more proactive to go for screening. But on that same note, Angie, I must tell you, we just went through last month. We lost one of the leading actresses in Kenya.
That was so heartbreaking.
And I think since she started the fundraising, the online fundraising, I was looking back and I would feel very emotional because once in a while, if I'd get something, I'd send in something small.
Yes.
But if you look back to when the WhatsApp, like the online fundraising started, you notice that was in 2023. You get? And the one thing you'll notice is when Kenyans come out and make an appeal, you know, for support, you know, especially for medical treatment, you'll notice lately the range has been like 7 to 10M. 7 to 10M, because that is also one of the things that Kenyans need to consider, that even as you're seeking treatment, like how much coverage maybe is enough.
Yes.
You may notice that a lot of people are looking to fundraise anything between 7 to 10. So it tells you maybe even a critical illness cover of about 10M or 15, because in our market, most underwriters will give you up to a maximum of 15 million shillings. But I think if you looked at just how she started her online fundraising, it took so long for her to have, you know, to have gotten enough money to actually allow her to start the treatment. And I think it was very heartbreaking that in the video where now she was showing us, she was actually in the plane now going for treatment. She said the doctors said that she needed to get onto treatment, like to start the treatment immediately. So to start with whatever had been raised, as they were still seeking to fundraise some more. So please, Kenyans, for sure, you know, cancer is one of those diseases, especially for this month where we are talking of where we are really raising awareness on breast cancer, and we are saying that global statistics show that 1 in every 8 women will actually, you know, battle breast cancer in their lifetime. I think we need to be more sensitized and to see and to really put a lot of emphasis when it comes to protecting ourselves and having a medical cover, having that critical illness cover, and ensuring that you start early on. Always remember, insurance is like a parachute. If you jump out of the plane without parachute, it's a done deal.
It's done.
So you need to ensure that by the time you are going skydiving, you have your parachute, you have everything, all your apparatus ready. So just ensure that you are prepared well in advance. Because the other thing we've not spoken about, Angie, is how when now you try and seek a critical illness cover when you're already diagnosed with cancer. How is that treated?
Oh my goodness. The premium is loaded, crazy high.
Yes.
That is almost unsustainable.
It's actually an outright rejection.
It can be rejection.
For most.
But I remember you had a client who actually had critical illness or chronic, or the medical cover. Critical illness.
Yes.
You had a client who was loaded, right?
So this was a client who was seeking to take up a whole life policy. And the whole life cover also, she had also requested to have a critical illness cover and a disability coverage. So the premium was actually loaded 5 times. So we moved from like 30s to 150 something per month kind of premium.
And this is somebody who needs the money.
And the critical illness cover was denied. That was declined. Do you get? So the only benefit, the terms came. So of course, even her, she just rejected the terms because she was only going to get a death benefit that was going to cost 5 times what
she would have paid.
Yes, if she were healthy. And number 2, other than that, she wouldn't even get a critical illness cover. So I always say, a lot of us reject insurance when you're healthy.
Yes. Then insurance rejects us when we are unhealthy.
Yes.
Because actually, even though they say, even the mainstream insurance,
Yes.
even though they will give you a 2 to 3 year waiting period,
I mean,
most times they reject.
It
is declined. We
Yes.
cannot take up this claim.
Yes. Yes.
A little too late. Yeah.
Yes. And you can imagine being slapped with that 2 to 3 year
Waiting
period. That is actually
That's the
time
period that you need to be actively in treatment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even for international covers, because I think sometimes our local covers get people fight back and they're like 2 years is too long. But most international covers will actually do an outright rejection. You know,
in fact, they're very strict. Yes. Oh, they're very strict. Yes. They'll do an outright rejection, or they will give you a 75% to 100% loading,
yes,
which is quite unrealistic when you need the money.
Yes.
Okay. So for active cancer cases, they hardly ever take you on.
Yes.
At that time or in future, even after long after you go into remission, they do not take you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you might feel like you're wasting your money
yes,
buying insurance when you're well, but you need it.
Yes.
But you actually need it when you're healthy,
yes,
and well.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. When you're healthy and well.
Yes. So we've discussed how cancer is treated within medical insurance. We've also seen how it's treated within critical illness covers, and we've said that we need to complement our health insurance policies with critical illness
and I mean, I think I also need to add this, that there are people who are totally against private health insurances, okay? Or they're just in it for the employer's benefit, okay? But they are keen to find out, can I get this critical illness benefit only? Because the thought of not having funds to be treated scares them.
Yes.
Okay. So I think it is important for our viewers to note that yes, you can purchase a critical illness cover with that 2,000, 3,000 bulb and not have a mainstream medical insurance, or have your or supplement or complement it with your employer's cover or with the SHA cover. Okay, the SHA, which is it, SHA.
We're not even calling it anything. I'm just side-eyeing them with the I can't wait to see. I think I've been so stressed around the whole thing.
Yes.
I just feel that so many vulnerable Kenyans, because let's be honest, for those of us who are fortunate to have private insurance, we may not really be feeling this, but for the majority of Kenyans who really need, who are benefiting from NHIF, and now they've just been left in a state of like a vacuum.
It is.
Where nobody, you look at the new, cabinet secretary being.
And do you know the people who are implementing the SHA can afford private health insurance?
They
not only can afford, they have it in place. Yeah. And there is this. I don't know what his role in the medical ministry. He came out yesterday and said 61 Kenyans have been treated by SHA on the chronic illness. I'm like, 61? Do you know how many people are sick in this country? Do you know? It's so shameful that, a leading government officer can say that to us in this country.
Yeah.
It is quite shameful. Yes. So another thing, again, if you can afford private insurance, please take it up.
Yes.
The process that you have to undergo, I was reading the details process of getting treatment outside the country for SHA, which is pretty much like what it was in NHIF. Yes. You will need to go get medical reports. You'll need to go, I don't know, see who. Yes. I don't know which officer in government to sign. It can take you 2 months to get all these things in order.
And that is probably your window of opportunity, to get the treatment
started. It's such a long period, Yeah, so I think critical illness qualifies anytime, any day.
Yes. And it also just adds an extra layer of just peace of mind, even for you, just peace of mind, where in the eventuality of the worst, I know I'm covered. I know I'd receive a 10 million payout, I'd receive some 15M, I'd receive some 3M, some 1M, whatever amount your premium can afford, and it would push me up to this point. But yes, that's it for today's episode, for our Pinktober episode. Yes, Angie?
Yes. So I also needed to add on, I think we should be sharing like on our, on the description box, the people, the hospitals that are offering good packages for the screening.
Yes.
Okay. That are partnering with the NGOs, you know, just any information that you'll be requiring for this season and going forward. Okay. Yeah, that's I think that would be very crucial.
Yes. And since, by the way, the challenge I posed to you, that one you have to accept is challenge. Just say challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
So next week, by the way, Angie and I will actually go for our own screening. We'll tell you how that went.
Yes.
It's hard. Honestly, I do my own self-examinations. I have actually never gone into a facility. I think I'm part of those, that brigade of
Okay, but the good thing is that you have a cover to fall back on, back to.
Yes, but
it's scary. It's really scary.
Yes.
I think that's why, you know, we must hold each other.
Yes.
You know, let's go for this thing together and walk through the journey together.
Yes, but I think it's shameful, Angie, that for the past 12 years, I have always had medical insurance coverage, and in some years I've even had 2 or 3 different covers. And I never utilized my annual checkup. So I think when we talk of October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, this is the kind of awareness we need to raise, that, you know what, you have your medical insurance, please ladies, please gents, twendeni, you know, let's go for just the checkups, you know. So if you are watching this, please ensure that this October you go get your mammogram done.
Yes. The ultrasounds.
Yes, get the ultrasounds done. Angie said it very well. A stitch in time saves lives. And early detection could make a whole lot of difference, by the way. Because
what is early detection without treatment?
Yes. So, as she said, even as you go for that mammogram, ensure that you have a game plan, you know. So that game plan could be you sitting down maybe with the insurance agent to work around a plan for your medical cover. It could also be you know, sending a request to Angie or sending a request to me to get your some critical illness quotes. You just see what options you have there and commit to something. Kenyans, nobody's coming to save us. It is not the powers that be as of right now. So please, if you're in a position, let's ensure that we save ourselves first.
You see, as you're saying, nobody's coming to save us. I have seen very influential personalities coming to ask for help. It is really hard. And imagine they also really beg the public to contribute for them. How about you, who does not know anybody? How much can you mobilize people to contribute for you? Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. It's been another episode of the Insurance Hangout podcast. It's always a blessing to have you tune into our episodes. So thank you so much for your time. So if you're listening to us, you can catch this episode either on Spotify, you can catch us on YouTube. You'll see snippets of this also on our social media. So please make a point of following us, make a point of subscribing and also ringing the bell button so that you are notified when we have something up for you. And please watch out or be on the lookout for our experience when we go for our screening. We'll make a point of sharing it with you. I am the co-host of the podcast. My name is Mama Bima Kenya.
And I'm your super agent, Angie. Until next time,
kwaheri.